Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me on the live. Everyone that is able to join the live and Team Replay, I want to thank you. If you are able to come in and watch the video, click the like button. If you're not already subscribed, I appreciate all the subscriptions. Thank you so much, everyone. This is Real Housewives of Potomac. I actually thought it was the season finale. It is not. It is the finale preceding that. So we are season 10, episode 16, Driving on Empty. And drive they did. Now, next week, we are going to have the season finale. That is going to be the Grand Dame. We see at the end of the episode, we'll get the return of Karen. She says she won't be Grand Dame, she'll be Kern. So, however she's back, I'm going to welcome her back this season. There were some good episodes, but for me, it was a struggle. It was a struggle. We had a couple of Tia is a newbie, Angel is a newbie, Kierna still is new. She needs help. Jazzy, friend of, and we have one OG, which is Giselle. I don't respect how she handles her role. She could do a lot better in her role. And then Ashley is a veteran. I'll give veteran to Ashley. Also Wendy. Give Dr. Wendy a vet. I don't like the performance of the veterans this season toward the rookies and the newer girls. Not good at all. Welcome in. Thank you so much. My moderator has made it in. Thank you so much, Mama Bees. Hey, Sandra P, chat, mods. Whatever area in the country in, you may be impacted by snow or ice. Where I am at in Charlotte, we got a little bit of ice, a little bit of snow, more ice than snow, but I don't have to be on the roads until sometime tomorrow afternoon anyway. And everyone that does have to get up and get out, be safe. We need Karen to come back and gather Giselle. Yes, Mama B, she's out of control. Despite what anybody might think about Angel or any of the other new ladies, Giselle's behavior to me is over the top. And we love to just watch the show and not think about all these things in the back of our mind, but we know why we don't have Karen. She was in jail, so we're going to see her released. Wendy had so much going on in the background, it could not be ignored. And she's beautifully dressed, well put together all the time, but some of the things that she says in her confessionals, some of the scenes production has shown very uncomfortable to watch. And this episode is no exception. So come in, take a seat. Thank you so much for joining me during the live Team Replay. Thank you as well. And we are here with Sandra P's Gen Extra. We're going to review this next to the last, I guess, episode. Not really next to the last, because then we've got the finale next week, and then we've got probably 3-part reunion. Andy was referencing that last night on Watch What Happens Live, and according to him and Stacey, it's going to be a hot one. They had Dr. Heavenly there with them as well. So we get Angel and Giselle. They were doing this standoff. It was not really a standoff. Angel's no match. She's no match for Giselle. Giselle said, I'm taking over the trip. We couldn't blame her. They didn't have water. I still don't like how she conducted herself, how she treated Angel. But Angel says, no, we're going to preview the next, she previews the next activity, which is going to be fly fishing. Now, we're still on the second day of the Colorado trip. Fly fishing is the next day. Y'all, they have an active activity. I'll say they have an activity that's actually a physical activity out on a lake or a river the day they are supposed to fly out. And it's not like they have nighttime flights, like the last flight out, like 9 or 10 or red eyes. They need to be at the airport in time to catch 3 p.m. flights for some of the ladies. Yikes. I don't know who was helping Angel with this trip. The planning just wasn't there. I can't even be upset with the ladies being upset, but I'm never going to tell them they were right for how they treated this girl. So Giselle says she wants to go to the Four Seasons so they can check in, bring their stuff there, everybody get their shower, have brunch there. Now, Giselle, the second you say brunch, brunch is breakfast and lunch. So that automatically pushes it later in my mind. Now, if you had something like fly fishing and y'all still leaving the same day, it should have been early. It should have been breakfast. And then that's not accounting for the hour and a half drive anywhere that they need to be. So we already know this is a mess. So Kay in the confessional, all of her confessional talk toward Giselle it's never in Giselle's face, it's the confessional. Giselle, sit your way down. My friend wants to go fly fishing. So Giselle wants to leave it up to the ladies. Angel's kind of looking around a little passively. And Monique's saying, okay, Monique decides that she would like to do fly fishing. Monique's doing this hippy drippy fruit and nut and woods type thing. And I think it's a persona. I think she's trying to sell these essential oils. So, okay, Monique. But, that was, I'll take that because I don't like a lot of the slick talk she was doing. But at least she's one of the ones that said, okay, she'll go fly fishing. We'll see how that turns out later. So Giselle asking if Angel is spending the night or you got to check with Bobby. We know Giselle gets really upset with anybody that checks in with their husband or has a healthy, happy relationship. Giselle is waiting for an answer. Everybody's looking like, okay, how far is this going to go? Angel is saying, well, that's my man. She's trying to joke, but not really. Production shows us all these clips of Angel referencing Bobby, checking in with Bobby. Yeah, I didn't really see anything too wrong with that. What's wrong with that? That is her husband. And they do have 2 small children, toddlers, who are so cute. Kai and Kush are adorable. So we see them checking in. They head back to the private jet. Y'all, they hadn't even left Aspen yet. So they head back to the private jet. Dr. Wendy jokes about having somebody's Mary J. Blige boots on, or it's supposed to be hers, but knowing what we know about Dr. Wendy. So she's doing her thing. Dr. Wendy is trying to be a little bit of comic relief, but I can see the stress on her in certain scenes, some of the things she says, and then we'll see her snap later over something that was really kind of not her business. So this is too much. They did get a cute group photo in front of the private jet. And then, of course, when they get back on, Angel, she's a great hostess in some areas. She has the food and drinks. We see that they did get their swag bag. That's on the jet. So Tia, Angel, and Kay are discussing that when you have children, you love them more than yourself. Kay in the confessional tells us she can't imagine that. She's never loved anybody more than herself. So Kay, I don't know what Kay is having, what conversation she's having with Greg about that. Greg already has children and he's newly divorced. I don't know what's going to happen with them. But I know Kay is putting a lot of emphasis on her Medi Spa business. I think that's great. But I don't know. Hopefully she won't waste too much more time with Greg if he's not the one. They get back in the SUVs. They got Angel sitting in the back seat. Why do y'all have the host in the back seat? Dr. Wendy's up front. Angel, you should have jumped up front. And Angel is in a dress. She's in her short denim mini. Angel knees are sitting straight up. She's trying to make conversation. Y'all, this was a little bit sad. I got my cloak of immunity on her, but it's not helping. She said, I don't even like fish. Angel, the ladies don't care. And the expression is like, ugh. We get a confessional with Stacy, says she don't care. Wendy's the same thing. Like, this is close to the end of this trip. Really, she's going to say close to the end of the season, but she didn't break the 4th wall. She's just saying. Angel has not made a move in their eyes to really be friends to them, and so they're not really open to her conversation. It still made me sad to see it. To see grown women acting mean like that, this was terrible. So then we got the other car. Jazzy is mocking Stacy. Stacy, Jazzy, we don't have no water. Of course, Giselle, Ashley, and Monique are screaming and laughing at Jazzy. Jazzy's pretty funny, though. But she is kind of a pick-me, and she does want to be with the popular girls. Good morning, Cece. One of the moderators came in and spoke to myself. Good morning, Sandra P., Mama Bees. Good to see you, Cece. Thank you for making the live. This is for Real Housewives of Potomac. We're coming to the end of the season. This has been a rough season. So they get to the 4 seasons. The executive suite is beautiful. Of course, it's Giselle's because she is taking credit for calling her contacts. We all believe production, setting this up. She's showing it off. It's beautiful. Fireplace, piano, multiple bathrooms. Ashtop points out, the tub's in the middle of the room. I've done some of my best work. Here go Ashley on her old white man thing. TMI. She's just an old pro at this point. She's on the market. She's putting it out there clear. I expect we'll see her in Dubai in a few weeks. So Angel tells the ladies they can go. Angel makes me laugh. Giselle has taken over this trip, but Angel's still trying, honey. She still got that cowboy hat on. She stands up in the middle of the ladies. She got another announcement to make. This is what we're doing tomorrow. Later tonight, I've arranged anyone can go. There's a bar, Mechanical Bull. But of course, she's an hour and a half away. Tia and Kay are staying with her, and they have to go get their clothes and stuff. Now, remember, she told Giselle she's spending the night after she checks with Bobby. Y'all, this is a mess. Welcome in, Sharon Gobble. Thank you for coming in and joining the live. Sharon came in speaking to myself and the chat. And we all speak back. Hello. So poor Angel is still holding on by thread with this trip, and the trip is horrible. But they are at the Four Seasons, where they can at least get a shower and do whatever else they want to do there. So we get a confessional. Stacy is saying that the next day is a travel day. Planning an activity on a travel day is kind of bad planning. I agree with Stacy. I don't like to do anything on the morning or afternoon of traveling. And their flights are early. Again, it's not red eye like 9 or 10. They want to leave at 2 or 3. That's when the flights leave. So they have to be at the airport a couple hours early, or they actually should be, but we know what's going to happen. So confessional, let's see, Ashley says she wants to go bull ride. We get Jazzy in a confessional saying that she loves Fun Ashley. Production, I want production to stop showing us this clip. Fun Ashley is the one that's carrying around a chocolate pin because she's an old white man and a freak, and licking this girl from all the way up at her bachelorette party. Nobody else did that, just Ash Top. I didn't find that fun, but Jazz says that's fun. She can't wait to go out with Ashley. They're going to ride mechanical bulls. So Ashley, you are predatory in my opinion. Giselle gets to the piano. Remember, the executive suite is tricked out. They all sit at the piano and they sing a country and western song, kind of making fun of how bad the trip was, lack of water. Everybody has their own little verse that they freestyle. So, I mean, they could have had fun. They could have really had fun, but just some of the logistics, hour and a half away staying, all this kind of stuff. Sharon is in agreement with me. Ashley is disgusting. Yeah, Ash Top does way too much. And production, y'all get a little bit too much pleasure out of this too. And Jazzy, you thought that was fun. I don't know what to think about you. So they're freestyling this song. And Ashley's supposed to be this big time singer. She can't sing. Angel can sing, but Angel, I feel like you were downplaying a little bit. I want to hear some vocals from Angel. Angel can actually sing. So then production's giving us the timestamp. We're in Colorado. It's the last day. It's 10:30 a.m. Oh, Giselle kicks everybody out of her room. Okay, good night, good night. You ain't got to go home, but go out of here. Wendy's by the window dancing. Dr. Wendy, Giselle does not want you in her room. Go to your room. So Giselle and production did a good job. They have the executive suite for Giselle, and then they have rooms for everybody. Remember, Angel and the lady said they were coming back. I don't know why they thought that could happen with the time, the distance and the time traveling. But we get up the next morning. It's 10:30. Giselle's putting on her shoes, and they show the different ladies' rooms. And Ashley's on the phone with Sheila, letting her know, "Oh my, I had a rough trip." I don't judge anybody's relationship. I wish I still had my mom to talk to, but some of the conversation Ashley has with her mother, she was like, "Oh yeah, it's rough every time you with the lady." So Ashley, of course, lets her know she's drunk. She's riding a mechanical bull. So go ahead, Ash Top. The ladies start to kind of drift into Giselle's room at 11:30. Now, keep in mind, these flights are leaving at around 3, some of the ladies. And they still have fly fishing that Angel planned with her Wonderland company. That was the other thing I hated about this trip, y'all. Some of them did not want it to go well anyway, but Angel didn't do a joint trip or anything. This is her trip in her city where she and Bobby live, her company, her team. So as far as her not being responsible for the house, the production rented, that's all well and good. But some of this other planning, she has to take accountability for. She just does. This is pretty terrible. Cece says, was Ashley's trip rougher than how she grew up with her mother? That's how she was acting, Cece. She was acting like I think at one point she said, "Oh yeah, we're roughing it." I don't know. I've had rough trips, never tough trips. I've always been blessed, but I've never lived under a bridge. I don't put that on a child. That would be the parents. But Ashley doesn't hold Sheila responsible for any of that. Sheila or that man, her sister's dad. So Wendy comes in. She says she's a nature girl, but today she's dressed all in her Chanel. Y'all, she got a Chanel leisure suit, a Chanel pocketbook. Dr. Wendy, you doing a lot. And it's cute and she looks great, but knowing what we know, it's kind of embarrassing. And production, why y'all doing this to Dr. Wendy production? She is doing it to herself, but it's just uncomfortable to watch, at least for me. So we find out Tia, Angel, and Kay went back to Angel's house because they didn't have a change of clothes. And Giselle's telling the ladies, Giselle, how long is it going to take you to put on these shoes now? Sometimes Giselle acts just like an old lady. So she's still putting on her sneakers saying, the hotel told me that their rooms were unslept in and the hoes stop calling these ladies garden tools. Because remember, Candace used to do that and they would have a fit. Oh, we hose now. But everybody is being called out of their name. They didn't stay there. So they didn't have clothes. Giselle said, this ain't a girls trip. This is like see you when I see you. I can agree with that. And it was because of the planning. But I think a lot of the planning happened the way it happened because I think Angel felt bullied and piled up on before they even got there. I don't know what she could have done to remedy that, really. I really don't. So then every time they're in the car or the truck, y'all, Angel's driving this huge GMC truck. She's in there with Kay and Tia. I'll give them credit for being riders because this had to be terrible. And they're going up the mountain, looking for this location. And production is always giving us a timestamp. It's always an hour and a half or 30 miles away or this, that, and the other. Y'all, this is just a mess. So the ladies get in the SUVs. They're driving to where they're going. One of them have to use the restroom. She says she's going to stop. I don't want to make anyone any more uncomfortable. Angel being so anxious and driving up these mountains was making me anxious, y'all. I started to feel sorry for her. She said, my intention was to go back to the Four Seasons. We get another one of these confessionals where Angel is buttoned up and just telling us at that point it was 1 a.m. in the morning. So Angel, 1 a.m. is the morning, but Angel got to get as many words as possible. It's 1 a.m. in the morning. They had not even packed. It was not worth it to try and go back across to the city, Denver, Four Seasons, to our rooms that Giselle had gotten for the lady. Angel. They're not going to give Angel grace, period. And this was poorly planned. I'll just say that. So Kay says it wouldn't have made sense. Kay is not a lady of few words, but she can get to the point more quickly than Angel. So her confessional, it wouldn't have made sense. And it's true, it wouldn't have, but Angel, don't be scared to tell the ladies, no, I'm not spending the night. When I drive an hour and a half, I'm not coming back across town just to have breakfast with you at Four Seasons, which was brunch, remember, which was putting everything off later. So we see Wonderland setting up. Her manager is there. The lady in brown was making sure the scene was set up. We see some of the anglers already in the water. Fly fishing looks really not exciting, but relaxing. And I think I would like to do that. I think I would like that. The chef is setting up a 3-course lunch. And production lets us know there is 5 hours until the flights depart. So y'all, they still have to reach, leave where they're at, pack, reach the location that the fly fishing is at, fly fish, and then they've got this 3-course lunch and then back to the airport. So I'm not sure if their suitcases are going to be in the SUVs with them or if they'll have to make a pit stop at the Four Seasons and grab their stuff. Y'all, this is chock full. This is the day of that they're leaving. So this wasn't good. They still have the physical activity and then that long drive back to the airport. They joke again about gas station margaritas. Dr. Wendy's kind of on one. So Jazzy is still in the SUV trying to make the ladies laugh. When I got to the Four Seasons, I was like the kid in Home Alone. I was ordering, a large pizza and all this kind of stuff. So that was fun. I took a bunch of baths. I took a bunch of showers. So they were kind of laughing. Monique and Giselle, the ladies, they're talking about, they speak to their moms daily for Ashley and Monique. We find out that Giselle talks to her mother more like once a week or so. Giselle tells us the daughters talk to the mom more than she does. Giselle saying what she went through with her dad and the whole will and everything, and his wife at the time of his death, her stepmother, it made her more interested in what her mom was doing. Like, where's the will? What are the passwords? So yeah, that is true. If you're a sandwich generation, if you have elderly parents and then you have children or people in your household that you're responsible for taking care of, there is a lot of planning. And then you have to be delicate with it because I know Giselle's mom is thinking that's none of your business, but it is her business. It's her business. Sharon Gabo, Angel is just not a good fit for this bunch of women. She should just throw in the towel, and Sharon is laughing. Sharon, I would be inclined to agree with you, but I cannot do it. I have her covered in my cloak. We'll see what she says and does at the reunion, Sharon. I know it's episode, 15? It's episode 15, but we still have another episode to go, which is the finale. That'll focus on Karen. I'm sure we'll hear more from the ladies, and then we'll see what happens at the reunion. I liked her reunion look. Sharon's still cracking up. I'm stick beside her. Y'all, I think Kay said that at the end of the episode when they drove in circles around the mountain. Poor Angel had to back down the hill in that big old truck. Kay leaning out the window going, you got it. You got it. Y'all, this episode was nerve-wracking. and most of it took place in the car. So I don't know. We'll see. Sharon doesn't think she's a good fit. I can see that. I don't like to see anybody mistreated. If she can't defend herself any better than she has, then she might need to wrap it up and do something else, really. So Wendy, Stacy, and Jazzy are in their car. Wendy's claiming, I'm trying to help Angel, but she's stuck in being who she is, and we have that in common. She should just be herself. This is another scenario where Dr. Wendy is she's wearing blinders. Dr. Wendy, you need to be yourself. And then we won't have to hear all this behind the scenes stuff about you and Eddie. I am so disappointed in what they're claiming she did. And it's looking kind of real, y'all. It's looking a little bit real. So Stacy's in the back working on her snacks while Wendy's doing all this talking. Stacy, why'd you do this? Stacy brings up Jazzy, and it upset me with you giving Sharice your number. You had just met her, and Sharice had already done something to Stacy. Remember calling Stacy a trick? And then somebody lied on her about Chris Samuels and Stacy, how well they knew each other, if they were dating. So Jazzy initially apologized, but then she asked Wendy to weigh in. And then she asked Wendy, what could I have done better? Wendy couldn't get a word in because Stacy was still talking. So we see Wendy rolling her eyes, getting kind of agitated. And then Wendy starts lecturing on loyalty and how you show up for your friends. Dr. Wendy, none of this is looking good on you. Jazzy brings up this wedding to Darius again. Y'all, I'm tired of hearing about this wedding. What does this wedding have to do with anything? Stacy did attend the wedding. Stacy, Ash Top, and Wendy went to the wedding. So why is Jazzy, I don't know why this is still a moment. We had some flashbacks to a reunion for some reason. Stacy lies. She didn't know that Ashley was even coming to the wedding. Now, Stacy, production shows us the phone call between Ash Top and Stacy where she's telling her that, yeah, I'm coming to the wedding. They're getting prepared for the wedding. So these ladies are a trip. Wendy says, in this group, you don't play games with your friends, especially your ride or die. Dr. Wendy, I don't think this group knew anything about what you and Eddie were going through. So I don't like when Wendy does that. Wendy can be kind of a hypocrite. And she's showing up as a hypocrite to me throughout the season, particularly during this episode. Next, we have Angel. Angel's still driving this big old GMC, this black truck. Kay and Tia, they are lost. They ask her about the directions. She starts talking about coordinates. Y'all, that's already a terrible sign. And then we get a confessional from Angel. Due to the large amount of anglers in the water, we had to use another locale that may not have been particularly familiar to Wonderland. Oh, Angel, it's so hard for me to... Y'all, cloak of immunity. This was a mess. Kay is nervous. She's in a confessional. Coordinates rather than actual directions? Yeah, y'all know with MapQuest and all these other services, Waze, when a newer location or a particularly remote location, they have coordinates instead of actual directions. That would have been the first sign that this is going badly. Sharon is cracking up. Sharon, Angel, poor Angel. She was so anxious. And she's still trying to drive. And they were going up the mountain. And then production is telling us 3 hours to flight time. The other ladies are doing the same thing. Ashley's checking, okay, it's about an hour and a half. Giselle's like, what? And then at one point, it was an hour and 46. The closer they would get, the farther it was away. Seriously, I wish I were lying. Poor Angel. Monique is saying, is Angel ever going to redeem herself with Giselle? Giselle's like, nope, she should have met me at the suite in the morning and then hash things out. Now, Giselle, you were not at a place where Angel would really want to meet you in the morning. And I think she had treated her so terribly, shouting her down on the private jet, toasting with her liquor to Giselle taking over the trip. I think Angel didn't feel comfortable meeting her. But I think if Angel had talked to them in the morning and then they hash out directions and everything and find out, oh, this is coordinates, and it's an hour and 40 minutes away from the location and them each other. And then you got to go to the airport to take a flight by 3. Not that you have to be there at 3. The flight leaves at 3. So you got to be there a couple hours earlier. Remember, Giselle was still putting her socks on at 11:30. So, y'all, this is just crazy. So Monique says that she wouldn't have something about Giselle. I can't remember what Monique was talking about. Monique wasn't in a terrible mood. Giselle was still in kind of a bad mood. And I mean, she had every right to be. Because honestly, it's the day of travel. I wouldn't have wanted to leave the Four Seasons. I think I probably rather would have had brunch But I think they didn't want to leave Angel at that point because she had planned this. So now we get Ash Top sitting back there telling Monique something about, now I'm starting to believe that because Angel and Bobby knew Chris. Production gives us a flashback of the Pride event. Angel is telling Monique that Chris was a mentor to Bobby. She said, I was the one that mailed him all the clothes because he was evidently, Bobby's been overgrown forever. He was 6'5" or something in high school. I heard of that. Some of the very large students, the athletes, will actually give them the used clothes and stuff. So Chris, big boy, sent a bunch of stuff to Bobby. So that was how Monique was always aware of the name. But Ash Top is telling Monique that Bobby might have been the one to pillow talk to Angel about Chris and Stacy. I don't know. Ashley, why are you still talking about this? And then we get a confessional when she's overdressed in that little leather suit and the page boy cap, saying Angel is all about sisterhood. I don't see her doing that. It must have been Bobby. Keep Bobby's name out your mouth. Didn't Angel tell you that she's going to crash out about Bobby? Sharon is still cracking up. This is the trip from hell. I feel so bad it didn't go the way it should have. So Monique was saying, you didn't tell me that. Ash Top lied. I thought I did. Giselle looked back at her. We get a confessional from Giselle saying, I thought Monique knew that. I thought Ashley told her that. No, Ashley is a liar. And Monique, you are stupid. Do you see now that they started this whole Stacy thing with Chris and brought you back to fight Stacy? They only switched to Angel because Angel is an easier target. As Sharon said, she might not be cut out for this, and she is much more sensitive, and that's a more satisfying target for a mean girl. Stacy's sitting up here laughing at her. My breath stink. Oh, give me one of these mints. I'm going with him. I don't know that man. Stacy doesn't care, or if she does, she doesn't show them that she cares. And Angel is calling Bobby crying and doing all this stuff, and she's giving them the reaction that mean girls want. So this is a mess. This trip was a mess. Sharon, it was. And I can't even defend her on that. It was terrible. And she had a business manager, Wonderland, the lady in brown that was out there setting up with the chef. Lady, why weren't you doing more? I'm going to take some of the heat off my Angel. Angel, put this cloak on. Get behind me, Angel. Why weren't you doing more, business manager? Why do you have a physical activity planned on the same day they're leaving? Because fly fishing could have been that the day before. So Angel's drive in the GMC, at one point, it was so nerve-wracking, y'all. Kay was trying to lean out the window. And she was like, okay, you got it. You got it. Angel is backing back down a dirt road. This was terrifying, y'all. Confessional Tia says, you would have thought that what would have been the worst part of it? These directions are the worst part of it. I'm so devastated for Angel that the trip is not going as planned. This is terrible. So Tia says she just wants to get back on flat land and get off this mountain. I was with Tia at this point. So I think the next time, Angel, maybe with Wonderland, what they should do, if it's fly fishing, they should pick up the people at their home, at the hotel, wherever they're at, pick them up and bring them. Don't have these people driving up trying to find this remote river that's on coordinates and not actual directions. This was terrible. So production gives us the time frame from where they are. Y'all, it's still an hour and a half. They've been driving 2 hours. They still got an hour and a half. So Stacy wants to hash out why she and Jazz, let's talk about why we didn't speak for so long. So they start talking again. Jazzy, did they cut something out? Because Jazzy goes, you're going to sit your beautiful tall A near me and blah, blah, blah. Jazzy is doing all this in Stacy's face. Stacy's sitting next to her, and she said, you need to calm down. Jazzy doesn't want to calm down. So Wendy gets triggered. For some reason, she curses Stacy out like a dog. I wrote down, who are y'all talking to? Y'all, this is crazy. So they text each other. They've been driving a couple of hours now. They got to stop and feed Stacy. Wendy looks like to me, because everybody is hungry and angry. They are upset. So Monique is joking. As they all meet, they get out. Monique's joking that Stacy make me look like I got a body. They're always picking at how slight Stacy is. She's very tiny. Y'all need to stop doing that, because Stacy might be self-conscious about it. So Tia feels terrible. Angel wanted to fix things, and Angel's saying, this is all my fault. Blame me. It's all my fault. She's just a driver, kind of crying. I saw Tia kind of wipe a tear from the back seat. Poor Angel. So Ash Top is asking, are we copping a squat around here? Cece had a valid question. Due to Ash Top's living circumstances at certain points in her life, was this really the worst trip she's had? Ashtop, did I hear you say that on TV? This is Real Housewives of Potomac. Are we copping a squat around here? That's what she said when they got to the gas station. Disgusting. So Wendy says, I'm dripped in Chanel and I feel like a tumbleweed might roll across my shoe. Who Chanel is it? That's what we're trying to find out. So they call Angel. They're trying to find out where Angel and them are. Angel doesn't know where they are, but they might have an hour and a half left to get there. Ashley said, no. Giselle's like, She said, no. Ashley said, this is where the trip ends for us. Because again, their flights are leaving at 3, I think it was. Y'all, this was a mess. So Giselle says, she starts clapping. We are headed back to the airport. I have to agree with her. I think they even maybe have to go to the hotel and get this. No, the stuff, Stacy ended up getting her bag. So the stuff was actually in the car. So that was good. Giselle says, are y'all going to get Tia to the airport? Because I care about Tia. Kiana has the nerve to get kind of upset. Oh, she cares about Tia. I didn't take it as that. I think Giselle might have been throwing shade because that's her usual modus operandi. But I think that she meant Angel and Kay and Bobby, they're friends. They're going to take care of her. If she has to spend another night, it's no big deal. It's not the same as if Tia is just stuck with no way. So Angel calls the team and says, we aren't coming. Chef was like, well, that's unfortunate. He's done fried up all this good looking food on the grill. Y'all, that food looked good. I hope they treated the anglers that were out there to the food. I'm sure they did. So then production, thank you, production. They contrast the gourmet lunch that the chef was laying out with the gas station lunch. Production shows us Giselle almost inside her mouth again, chomping down on some pizza. For somebody that's supposed to be so above and higher echelon, she kind of trashy, y'all. First lady is trashy. I'm not saying it. Her church members used to say that. She's a trip. So Wendy is saying that their car ride was rough. Of course, Giselle stopped chomping. She wanted to hear that. Oh, how was the car ride? Wendy saying it was rough. She brings up Sharice, brings up Jazzy's wedding, lectures Stacy again on loyalty. So Ashtop is sitting over here bobbing her head. Now Angel's not there. She's lost. She's not going to make it. Angel's phone was even trying to conspire not to get her back with these mean old ladies. They turn right back around on Stacy. They start yelling at Stacy again. Jazzy starts again. I try to see the good in you, this and that. Monique had the nerve to say, sometimes you try to see good in people and there is no good in them. Really, Monique? So Candace tried to see good in Monique and she ended up getting her little wig twisted and popped in the head when she was really mad at Giselle. So Monique, you need to control yourself. You got nothing to do with this conversation. Jazzy starts again. Stacy says in front of everybody, she says, well, you are trying to have a moment. She's right about Jazzy. She said, a friend to everyone is a friend to no one. Get her, Stacy. Stacy's on the end of the bench and they're all kind of saying little things to her. So she jumps up, walks across to the other SUV that she got out of. Stacy grabbed her bags, y'all. They were at a gas station. She got on the phone. Stacy, you can't Uber from there. They don't even know where y'all are. She's acting like she's leaving. Wendy says, if you're going to be a friend to someone, a friend should be able to call you out. Let me go check on her. So Wendy pretends to go check on her. And I say pretends because I don't like how Wendy was treating Stacy. Wendy goes over there. Why is Ashtop at Wendy's heels? Ashley, get out of here. You got nothing to do with this. She's never there to help or to be a friend. She's there to carry information. Sorry, Sandra, I can't with Angel. I know, Sharon. I'm going to stick beside her. You called at the beginning of the season. I think she got extra sensitive at the beginning of the season and you called it then, but I can't yet. So Wendy, for some reason, her and Stacy, they were talking. It was just the two of them. Here comes Ashtop. Wendy starts cussing out Stacy again. I'm going to call you out on your ish every MF in time. The people were weighing in. Wendy lies. I still love Stacy, but true friends call out each other. This is not true. She says, I had your back. None of these ladies liked you. I had your MFing back. Dr. Wendy, I think that Mama Sue was right. I think Wendy might be performative or trying to get attention. I don't know. I don't know where all this came from unless there's heavy editing. But Wendy's at the top of her lungs. She's making gestures all in Stacy's face. Ashtop is there signifying, y'all, this was too much. Welcome in, Kiwan JTV. Good to see you. Oh my God, I'm late. Good morning. Grand Rising, everyone. This is my fellow content creator. Y'all make sure you see Kiwan JTV. Thank you. Kiwan, they are at this gas station. They never made it to the trip. They've actually they're on the trip, but they never made it angling, which was their last activity. So I think Wendy doesn't have anybody's back but Happy Eddie's and the kids. That's all I'm thinking. So she's telling Stacy that she tried to take up for her when nobody else liked her. I've always been a friend to you. Y'all, Stacy said, have you? Wendy said, remember you said that. Wendy storms off. Ashtop goes back to the table of ladies and starts to run down the conversation. Jazzy's fake crying. Since I met Stacy and this and that. Y'all, it's crazy. So Ashtop brought the whole conversation back. Wendy pretends, let me go check on her one more time. I don't believe this for a second, Wendy. So she says, there's no point in being a friend. Every time we have a difference of opinion, you tell me that we're not friends. And Stacy makes a point. She says, we can have a difference of opinion. I just wish that you would be more diplomatic if I feel like I'm being ganged up on. And we know this has happened throughout the season. When I feel I'm being attacked, that you would stand with me at that time. So I have to agree. She said, I've been ganged up on for months now. All true. And Wendy lies and says, I love Stacy. Stacy is my friend. Y'all, this is one of these confessionals where production makes Wendy look crazy. I'm sorry, I have to turn my camera off a moment. I turn the heat on and I am getting ready to sweat. So this is one of the confessionals where Wendy looks crazy. She says, Stacy is my friend. I just want her to be confident, standing in her truth, whatever that may be. This is Wendy talking about Stacy, standing in her truth, wherever that may be. This is a confessional where Wendy's wearing these huge rings. Production keeps showing us. Immaculate. Hair, beautiful. Makeup, flawless. Huge rings. And then they flash back to the scene where she's in Chanel, y'all. Chanel down. A whole Chanel leisure suit and a Chanel bag. But she wants Stacy to stand in her truth. So, y'all, this is a trip. Wendy. I don't know when that case starts, but we're going to all be glued to it because this is just too much. You can't write this. So Stacy says, I need to get back to the DMV because the Colorado is not it for me. Stacy's a trip. Then we get a confessional of QVC Stacy. I had a good time. Y'all, this was a trip from hell. And Angel is my girl. I don't want to do her like that, but this was a trip. I thought this was the finale, but it's just, they're wrapping things up because next week is going to be Kern, the Grand Dame is back. Stacy gets the first wrap up. We know who Andy Cohen loves, honey. I bet Giselle couldn't stand this, but Giselle, really, what you have going on this season? Stacy and Timo are still going strong. They don't know if their divorce papers will be rescinded or if it's just too fresh. If they do remarry, Jazzy is not invited to the wedding. So Jazzy, all of that back and forth you were doing, honey, this didn't do you any good. For some reason, they show us Wendy rubbing all over Stacy's butt. Y'all stop doing that to Stacy. And I know it's because the way she's built, she's very slight. So Wendy's kind of popping her. Giselle comes over there and takes her hand and starts popping her too. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. Production slows down and shows us Giselle and tells us that after a 2-year battle, she lost the right to her father's will. So that's good for her stepmom. That was the lady taking care of him during the last years of his life. So, but I do hate the fact that if it's really true that the granddaughters were iced out of the will, I don't know how true that is. I don't know. But Giselle lost that fight. And next, she did have a win. Angel pledged, AKA. So one of the twins, Angel and Dora, Angel pledged, AKA. Wendy gets the next rundown, y'all. It says, Wendy and Eddie, 3 months after the Colorado trip, they got arrested for fraud, felony fraud. Lord, somebody help her. She is facing up to 15 years if convicted. Mama Bees, you said last week that Wendy might get to do some time. I don't know. Happy Eddie, do you have an Apollo bone in your body? Apollo, I don't care how much he and Phaedra get into it. Apollo and his brother did that time, okay? Phaedra held the money, kept her little jobs, and Apollo and his brother did that time, okay? So I don't know, Happy Eddie, you got it in you? Because some people think you tried to set Wendy up with that email. Wendy, did you get up to $423,000, the maximum amount we can get from insurance? And y'all sleeping right next to each other. This was terrible. So next we get Ashley. They give a rundown. Her second bloom has her breaking up to make up with Josh. We don't care. Ashley says this entire experience, she stressed herself out. I don't know what Ashley was talking about. Next, we don't care what Ashley has going on. We hope that Ashley comes back as a friend of or not at all. Bye, Ash Top. So we catch up with Angel. Tia is congratulating her for getting down the mountain. We get a rundown from Kay. Kay and Greg are better than ever. She's prioritizing her Medi Spa, and she's not added to her jewelry collection of the picture frame from the store. They're playing with you, Karen. I don't like that. Tia, I can't, y'all, this is not a good sign for you, Tia. I can't remember what they said about you. Angel gets the last confessional. Angel, I hope this is not your swan song. Angel's looking pretty in her confessional, talking about, I never dwell in confusion. I am that girl. Knowing me is a privilege. I'm a problem solver. Y'all, Angel's too much. Angel, if you believe it, I do too. Sharon does it, but I do. So she and Bobby still live in Colorado, but they bought a $2 million home in the DMV. So Bobby probably said, F that job. But if you still want it and they want you back, you can do it. So we'll see what's going to happen. Mama Bees she's saying again about Dr. Wendy. They live in Trump country. They don't like Miss Wendy. They don't. When I'm telling you, they did a whole press conference. I'm like, look at this country tail sheriff. What is he talking about? I mean, this is an insurance fraud case. Why are you doing a whole press conference? So I'm a little concerned. I really am. Sharon says Happy Eddie doesn't have it in him. Wendy's going to do the time, in my opinion. I think that too, Sharon. I think that too. I don't know. Sharon is laughing about Angel's confessional. I don't appreciate that, Sharon. So this is a mess. Next, we get Giselle. She claims the Grand Dame wouldn't have made it through this trip. She would have left before the private jet. I don't know. The no water thing, I think what she would have, I don't think she would have went home. I think she would have got the Four Seasons room easy earlier. And I think she would have got in touch with production way before that. As soon as they're not getting water at the faucet, I think they would have done that. And I think she would have approached Angel a lot differently. So we'll see. So Giselle says she's in the best place. She's in jail. That was a little silly, Giselle. Next, we show Karen exiting the jail to an SUV, honey. She is in some set it off braids and a blue silk bandana. She's looking good, y'all, and some oversized jeans. So she gets in the SUV. They escort her to the SUV. She gets in and just kind of melts into the seat, and then she starts praying. Y'all, I miss Karen. I'm glad to see her back. So next week, we get another preview. Her daughter, Raven, is waiting at the house. She runs up to Karen, and they hug. And then, y'all, who shows up? Andy Cohen. Has Andy Cohen ever come to one of the ladies' homes on any franchise for anyone? He comes to the Grand Dame's home. He greets Ray. Affectionately, they shake hands. So Andy started asking some serious questions. What was your cell like? Andy, you're really silly. Come on now. There's things I want to know. I don't think what her cell was like is one of them. I think they show great respect to her in there. I really do. I'm with Sharon. I missed Karen. I did. Oh, one of the other questions, Karen, some of the viewers don't feel like you should be back. I don't know. She did her time. I don't know what people want. She got out early. Well, y'all got somebody in the White House. He never went. So we're going to leave Karen alone. Karen, get Blue Eyes back. I don't care what Sharice say. If they claim you're going with the man or whatever, get you a driver and keep doing that. Don't worry about it. So I think next week's episode is going to be much better than this. Y'all, I'm going to have to give it a 5 because my heart went out to my poor Angel, but I had to sympathize with the ladies. You got a suite at the Four Seasons, and then this girl wants you to drive an hour and a half, not with directions, with coordinates. And even she never found the place. Y'all, this was a mess. The other thing I didn't like is that when they couldn't get to Angel, because she couldn't find them and they couldn't find her, they circle right back to Stacey. So that showed Sharon. I don't blame you, Sharon. Sharon gave it a 4. They still got a failing grade. I guess they passed the season, but this episode was terrible. But next week, I can't wait to see Karen, Grand Dame, what she brings. I can't wait to see Andy Cohen showing homage, honey. He's coming to the house. We get to see Ray, the beautiful Raven. Very little of the other ladies, I hope. I'm looking forward to the reunion. I saw reunion looks. Dr. Wendy killed that reunion look. So she told that insurance company, I don't care what y'all talking about. I'm going to look good. So y'all better leave Dr. Wendy alone. Sharon's kind of thinking what I think. I don't think he has that Apollo bone in his body. Apollo was kind of street. Eddie's not street. Next week's going to be good. Y'all, thank you so much for joining me during this live review. I watched Married to Medicine. I'm not done with the notes. So when I go through and do the notes, I'm going to do another live sometime today because I'm snowed in and shut in. So I'll make time. And I hope as many of you as possible are able to come back and join me for Married to Medicine. I'm not sure what time, but you'll know at least an hour in advance. So thank all of you for joining me, Sandra P's Gen Extra, and I will see you in the YouTube streets. Sharon says, see ya, and I do as well. Bye, everybody. Be safe and have a great day. Thank you. Bye.
I don't think that he's good for you.
How do you know what's good for me?
That's my opinion!
Don't you get it? Why can't anybody have an opinion but you?
That I don't think that he's good. That I